Hiya, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts and I hope you're doing okay. First of all, I want to say a massive thank you for helping me get to 20,000 subscribers. I hit it last week, I think, and I just cannot believe I've got there. It's just crazy numbers. Maybe that means I'm actually a YouTuber now. I don't know. Anyway, I'll do my best. But I will be doing a 20,000 subscriber giveaway at some point. It might be this week, it might be next week, but I will try and let you know in advance. But thank you so much. Anyway, you know I like trying things that are new. I really do enjoy it. And sometimes people come up to me and ask me to try something of theirs, and I get a lot of weird and wonderful things offered to me, things that really don't suit my channel. But this did suit my channel. It's a new resin from Istoyo. They didn't ask for a video, they asked me just to try out the resin and give them some feedback. So yeah, I'm trying out Istoyo resin and let's see how I get on with that one. So this is how Istoyo resin was delivered, in a very sturdy cardboard box, which I was quite impressed with, to be honest with you. There's plenty of instructions on the back. There is a typo, but I have pointed that out to the company and yeah, they didn't know it was there, so they're going to change that. I wonder if you can see where it is. It's got a nice seal on it. And when you open the box, there's more packing. And I really like that. I like the fact that it is sturdy. I also like the fact that you get a mixer in it. Now, I do have one of the Istoyo mixers, but they're always handy to have. And the extra paddles that come will be greatly appreciated. They are cordless and they take AA batteries, 4 of them. You also get quite a few pairs of gloves. And yeah, this packaging definitely screams quality. This resin is not going to go anywhere in transit. It also has a leaflet, which is always good to read. Even though my husband never reads the instructions, I always try to read them. By the way, this is the gallon box, and that's why it comes with so much. And this is the resin. I do like the picture of the whale. I think it's quite cute. I just thought I'd show you the unboxing of the resin mixer because you may not have seen it before. It is literally a mixing handle and 2 paddles. Now, when I first got my mixer, I was very dubious of whether it would work or whether it would create more bubbles. But I've been using mine now for a good few weeks and I actually really like it. I will give you some tips on how to use it later as well. So I just thought I'd crack on and try this resin out. And it's a mixing ratio of 1:1 by volume. So I'm going to be making 16 ounces. That's 8 ounces of part A and 8 ounces of part B. That's fluid ounces, the measuring system on this jug. I've got quite a large mixing jug here, but I've got 2 large moulds sitting on the side which I'm going to make use of. So using the mixer, you make sure that the paddle is underneath the resin. If the paddle is above the resin, it will pull air into the resin and you don't want that. So if you're mixing a smaller amount of resin, use a smaller cup. The first time I used this mixer, I used a large jug with a smaller amount of resin and it didn't work out too well because the paddle was above the resin and it pulled all the air into it. And that's all there is to it really. It is surprisingly good. But you do still need to scrape the edges and the bottom with some kind of plastic or wooden stick. This is speeded up, but I do suggest doing it quite gently and slowly. You've already mixed your resin and all you've got to do is to get all the little bits that haven't mixed properly from the edges. When you've done that, your resin is good to go. According to the instructions, this resin has a 40-minute working time and it cures within 24 hours. It's also a shallow pore resin, which means it is recommended not to go above 2 centimetres in any one pore. Now this is a large bowl mould, however the walls of the bowl are really quite thin. They're less than 1 centimetre, so I'm pretty sure I'm safe even though I'm pouring a huge bowl with this. The volume of the resin is going to be fine. It's not going to overheat. There's a huge hole in the centre of this bowl mould, so it's not a solid mass. And I jiggled it around a bit to try and get rid of all those bubbles that could be stuck. I'm not putting these pieces in the pressure pot. They're just going to be sitting on my side. Both of these moulds are Temu moulds. They were bought quite a while ago and I couldn't even remember the detail of pattern on this trinket box mould. I couldn't remember what it was. Well, I thought there's only one way to find out, isn't there? Just pour resin in it and see what you get. I could have searched my purchase history. That would have told me, but no, I thought it would be a surprise, to be honest with you. And I like surprises. Sometimes. Anyway, this is the lid. Now, the lid of the box was extremely thin. The amount of resin that had to go under that lip was quite a small amount, but obviously the air gets trapped under there. So what I decided to do was just go round to the corners and then round the edges to get all the little bubbles out so that the resin could go under there instead. As I said, these are not going into my pressure pot, they're just sitting on the side, and I didn't want to give them any special treatment because I wanted to see what this resin did under these quite normal circumstances, without any special treatment, without a heat mat, without a pressure pot, and without even using my airless. I did give them all a good squirt with isopropyl alcohol and I just left them to cure. And surprise, surprise, the amount of resin I made was the right amount. That doesn't happen to me often. There is definitely something weird going on here, but anyway, after 24 hours, definitely time to demould. I did wonder if I'd managed to get all the air out of the lip of this mould. But as for the resin, I was impressed. I couldn't see any micro bubbles in that whatsoever. It really looked good. 1 down, 2 to go. And there's to find out what pattern is on this mould. And it suddenly occurred to me, oh yes, it's a book. I remember now, it's a book. Now I just paused it here so you can see that there is actually some bubbles in this piece, which I actually didn't see when I demoulded it, so I didn't pay attention to them. It was only later that I saw them, so I thought I'd show you. But they are bubbles that got trapped in the mould. They're not bubbles from the resin. Well, they are, but they just couldn't escape because they got stuck in the mould. I don't know whether that does that make sense to you. I hope it does. So it's a really cute book container. I must admit, I fell in love with that mould when I saw it and I had to get it. And now I've made it, I love it even more. I just think it's so cute. And there's definitely things I could do with this for Halloween. What was that? Anyway, going back to the last mould, this is the bowl mould. And I just thought when I bought this mould, it was really cute as well. I love the fact that it doesn't have a uniformed circle at the top. I love that it's all over the place. And this clear bowl shows that the resin is just so crystal clear. It is absolutely beautiful. I've only ever used one other resin that has given me such good results in the past as this one has. There are a few surface bubbles. Again, that's where the air couldn't escape out of the mould. That's user error. I could have gone round with a tool to get rid of any trapped air half an hour after pouring it, but I didn't. Now, I don't know if you remember last week's video, I did actually say I was trying out a new resin, and that was this resin as well. And the results from that were absolutely stunning. The resin is crystal clear, absolutely crystal clear. I love this resin, and it cures beautifully quickly too. Well, I decided to use these moulds again, and as I loved the bowl mould so much, I made a blue one with some mica powder to see how the resin worked with the mica powder, and it was absolutely fine. Now, as it's coming up for Halloween, I also used some neon green, and neon is such a fantastic colour, isn't it, with black light behind it, which a lot of people have these days. You can get a black light torch quite easy, and I just thought that would be cute. The clear book I'm going to do something else with, because I absolutely love this mould, and I made another one with some mica powder and tattoos and some rather funky permanent vinyl that I cut on my xTool, and I really love how this came out. I didn't want to leave the other one clear, so I decided to do something with it. First of all, I'm going to use some ordinary black acrylic paint, and I'm going to paint into the cracks around the pages on the edge of the book. Then I'm going to take a wipe and wipe off the excess from the top. Now, it did struggle the first couple of times of doing this. I don't know why, it was just coming out too much. So I did it over again until I was happy with the amount of black that was left in the cracks. I tried a sponge, I tried baby wipes. In the end, for some reason, I got it. I just got it. Maybe it was the direction I was pulling the cloth. I think maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I got it in the end, and I filled in all the cracks of the pages of the book, and later on I did the detail on the spine of the book as well. So this is where it goes a little different. I decided to get some sanding paper out. This is wet dry sanding paper, and it's 1200 grit. Now, I did end up going down to 800 grit, and I think 800 would have been better to start with, because I could take off a little more and still get the frosted glass appearance that I was going for. Yeah, I wanted to make it frosted, the entire book. Now, you're probably thinking, well, she's just painted that. How can she make that frosted? Well, I'm only frosting the top, the base, and the top of the pages and all the edges. So I don't actually think I'll sand off any of the black paint that I've already put in there. It took me a little while. Sanding is very therapeutic for me, and I really enjoy doing it. And the tactile feel of sanded resin is just beautiful. It just gives this really lovely feel when you touch it. It will show up any low or high points though, so you need to take it down if you want to do it properly, completely, to get rid of any shiny resin. So once I have it all sanded the way I want and it's all nice and tactile, I cut out some wording on my xTool. You can also do it on a Cricut. You can also buy them pre-cut, I believe. And I added some wording on the front of this, and also a little picture of a ghost and a little picture of a witch on a broomstick. I'm not a great fan of this matte red, but I think it works really well on this book. And I'm absolutely over the moon with how this turned out. I love the frosted glass effect. It's definitely a resin I would consider using. The price is comparable to other very popular brands out on the market. I now am an affiliate with Istoyo, and I have an affiliate link in the description box below, together with a 10% discount code, which I'll put on the screen and is also in the description box below. And why not visit toonpish.com, where all my discount codes are. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope you've got something out of it. I am definitely a fan of Istoyo. It's one of those brands that I think are up there with some of the others. Come back and see me next week, because you never know what I'm going to be up to. I never know what I'm going to be up to. Have a great week. Happy crafting. Don't let those spookies and bats get you. Bye for now.